were several groups. One of the principal ones was the reptilians from the Orion complex.
Without any exaggeration, it was like being on fire inside.
Rats were eating you up inside.
This stuff was in my mouth. It felt like it was 500 degrees. It was unbelievably hot.
My first question would be, were you a member of the Church of Satan, a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan?
I don't understand.
There's always an argument for everything. You know, just because somebody can fake something doesn't necessarily mean it's
war, and we found a life form. And that's when I started shitting my pants.
So for the person who called, I am carrying an alien.
An alien baby. We covered right here, okay?
Okay.
Something is happening. What is it? That's the question. So do UFOs exist? It depends on what you mean exist.
Alien love, a recurring theme in many contactee cases featured on this program, from such memorable characters as Stephanie Faye Cohen and her octopus boyfriend, Simon Parks in his quarterly Alien Love Fest, and of course, David Huggins in the ever-sexy Crescent. As special as those relationships are, we will be taking it back to one of the original alien lovers tonight, as the Unbelievers podcast takes a fresh look at the well-known case of South African meteorologist Elizabeth Klarer and her well-publicized love affair with the man from Meton, known as Akon. So, join us now as we hear more about the legacy and validity of this astounding story from an all-new documentary. It's time now for Elizabeth Klarer, Beyond the Light Barrier. Right here in the program, we continue to learn to unlearn everything you know. Hello and welcome to the Unbelievers podcast. I'm Russ Ryan, and joining me as always is Drea Mora. Hello, Drea.
Hello.
Hello there. And of course, soundboard engineer and producer, Rob Oakey.
Do space aliens make better lovers?
Unfortunately, they do.
Hello.
They do.
Both of you.
Unfortunately, they do. Yes, the classic Count Smocula alien love episode.
Yeah, I took it way back to that one.
Hell yeah. I missed that shit.
I do too, and we're kind of taking it back a little bit tonight. And I'll apologies to listeners right off the bat. This episode is coming a little late. I was hit with a combination of getting sick and then Mardi Gras and a lot of stuff going on here. And this was originally planned as a Valentine's episode, so as you can see how late it is. But I'll get us back in the mood.
That's a pretty good combo, though. Being sick on Mardi Gras, that means you get to be like on a bunch of NyQuil or DayQuil. And go to Mardi Gras.
Well, I got sick when I was supposed to be doing the show, and then I got better from Mardi Gras. So I think that was even better.
Oh, yeah, even better. Win-win.
Well, as long as you're feeling okay now, man.
Yeah. Let's see it as a positive.
I'm coming out of the gate hot again, like last episode, even though I'm coming out 2 weeks late. But who cares? It's time for our very late Valentine's episode. It's Elizabeth Klarer, Beyond the Light Barrier.
Even Elizabeth Klarer must have doubted her own eyes at times. To love someone no one's ever seen takes a lot of nerve from anyone. Even Elizabeth Klarer, even Elizabeth Klarer.
Yes, the great Jim Neversing with the song totally on the nose for tonight because, yes, it was recently Valentine's time, Valentine, the time where love is in the air. And what better way to celebrate just the idea of love and sexy stuff and all that than discussing a classic tale of alien human love. And it's been a few years since we did a Valentine's program. That was way back. We talked about Coral Castle.
Oh,
and
the
that
Coral Castle.
Edward Lee Skolnick guy.
Yeah, I can never remember his last name. Let's Skolnick.
He was the guy who just built sculptures that were completely mysterious as to how he was able to construct them, right? They were just mysterious stone sculptures.
Yeah, the crazy, like, huge amounts of heavy-ass rock that he did not have any equipment to move with. And it was just...
And he did it all by himself. He's just an old man.
Apparently through his mind.
Right. Everyone thought he tapped into the secrets of the pyramids and the Egyptians. He built the world's largest Valentine. That's what kind of worked.
But it was magnets, right?
Yeah, for his Sweet 16. That wasn't creepy at all. And this episode is going to be much less creepy, but also familiar to longtime unbelievers. Now, I know many of our listeners are very well versed in the story of alien contactee Elizabeth Klarer, but if you are not, that's fine. We will not only get you caught up, but up to date, Because in October of last year, an all-new documentary called Beyond the Light Barrier, based on Elizabeth Klarer's own autobiography, was released. And this is what we will be discussing tonight. Exciting, yes?
Oh, very exciting.
Very, very exciting. And this was actually a pretty good documentary. I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. The documentary is a very thorough telling of the story of Elizabeth Klarer, who had her first alien contact or first UFO contact in 1917 at age 7. And at that time, she felt that whatever this strange UFO ship she saw, whatever this was, that she would share a bond with it throughout her life. And she, in fact, did. And eventually she passed away in 1994. That is the broadest strokes of her life you can get. But like Rob was saying, it is a great doc. What I loved about this doc is that they talked to a lot of people who knew Miss Elizabeth Klarer personally, both friends and family, believers, and of course, non-believers. Yeah, I don't want to. A lot of non-believers.
You can't not say it.
Were tapped into this. There was a whole slew of people that were interviewed for this. Everyone from her hospice nurse to her son, friends, neighbors, all kind of UFO researchers and journalists. A lot of people are in this. And so after brief introductions, there was a lot of folks in this.
I was happy to see that there was a bunch of new characters added to this story because, of course, if you're a listener of this show, you probably have listened to the Unbelievable podcast. You may have heard Elizabeth Klarer's story before, but this actually takes it deeper and adds another layer to it. So it makes sense for us to cover this right now, honestly.
Yeah, the timing is great.
It's a proper update.
It really is. And so in the beginning of this, you get a brief introduction of all these folks who are going to be interviewed. And we hear from Elizabeth Klarer herself, who describes what actually happened to her on a very fateful day in 1954 when she met a man from beyond the stars named Akon.
I went to the mountain top, and there, as I topped the northern ridge of the dip, I saw the starship landed in the dip, and she was landed flat on the ground. And standing beside her was a tall man. I never hesitated. I ran straight to him, and I held out both my hands to him, and he took them, saying, "You're not afraid this time." I couldn't say anything. I just shook my head. I was out of breath. I was so excited. And then everything happened at once. He just picked me up like a feather and stepped onto the hull of his ship and in through the open doors.
Yes, this is very romantic.
Wow.
And I want to set the scene a little more.
So sweet.
The best part about this is getting the visual because this takes place in South Africa in a very beautiful rural area on top of a small hill that is now called UFO Hill. And
it's called UFO Hill.
It is now because this is where his ship landed. And it sounds like
it is now.
It sounds like Akon, he's had his eye on her for a while. He at least attempted before to, I don't know, beckon her near him when he's like, "Oh, you're not afraid this time."
That's kind of hot.
They didn't even say anything. They didn't even have to say anything. He landed in the dip and then he just got out and then he just escorted
her like a feather.
Lifted her up like a feather and brought her in through the doors. And they didn't have to even say a word to each other.
Damn.
Yeah, I kind of want to know how the other times went, where maybe he did say something but maybe he speaks in Meton and maybe
hey, bitch,
he screwed this all up and she was, a little intimidated.
Yeah. He's like, so, next time I'm not going to say anything. Just going to.
Oh, that's even better. Jesus Christ. All right. Moving on.
Well, he might not have needed to, because speaking of Akon, let's hear him wonderfully described by Elizabeth Klarer.
Akon, he had the most wonderful face. He had a high forehead, high cheekbones, aquiline features, and these really incredible grey eyes that were very compelling and full of love. And his hair was golden but quite white at the temples. And he is, in fact, I knew afterwards that he was at least 6'4".
big guy. But Akon. So I don't think I can call him that. Even though I have tried a couple of times. He is Akon to me always. It's just hard.
It's Akon. Akon. And do you hear, dude, he's a giant. He's 6'4".
Well, I was going to say, hold on. He's 6'4". That's big. It's not unheard of. And I was going to say, he's no giant, Rob, but you are the expert on giants.
I don't know, man. He's an alien. He's already got that going for him. So technically, I mean, if it looks like a giant, it smells like a giant, it might be a giant.
Rob, we don't know if he smells like a giant.
I mean, we know everything else about him, though.
What do giants smell like?
He had a high forehead, which I've never heard that as being an attractive feature.
I don't know why she said that.
He had mature features. I guess she was into that because he's like, his hair was golden, besides his silver temples. So temples were silver.
I didn't even know what aquiline meant when she said that he had aquiline features. That means like curved like a bird's bone. Or something like that.
Okay.
Which
I thought it was like equestrian. I thought it was a horseman.
That's what my brain went to too.
That's totally what I thought.
Either way, it's not an attractive feature, not an attractive thing that you would like see someone that you believe is very attractive.
Oh, dude,
like,
that guy looks like a bird. He's hot.
Yeah, Akon, you look like a really cool bird.
He had the loveliest face. Really? Did he though? It doesn't sound like it from what you're describing.
Damn, did you see his wings though? Did you see that beak?
She wasn't looking at any of that because immediately after this,
he's an alien with a graying hairline by his temples.
Eyes.
Well, no, his temples were a little gray. He had that mature little salt.
Oh, I thought you said his eyes were gray. My bad.
That too. Those are also gray. We learned a lot about his physical features.
But it was fine. Which is fine because it was enough for her. And what happens after he sweeps her off her feet? There is some very romantic lovemaking, which occurs inside his velvet-covered spaceship. She goes in his spaceship.
First date?
First date?
I mean, what? What are you, a prude?
I mean, get to know each other a little bit first.
I think it wasn't necessary. He probably knows her.
I mean, he has been
known
stalking her
7.
her entire life.
I mean, she's been seeing this. She's been seeing the ship since she was 7. He's been waiting around for this. So between the years of 1954 and 1956, she has multiple encounters. I'm not going to call these abductions. She seems to be going very willingly. No one's being abducted here. And yes, she makes passionate love to him many times. They have a child together. But hold on, right now, before getting much deeper, no pun intended, we're going to meet one of my favorite characters in Beyond the Light Barrier, journalist Petrova Metelkamp, who is partly responsible for the story of Elizabeth Klarer gaining wider popularity.
In 1983, I was a journalist, and I was in the privileged position that I could choose my subjects for my articles. It was for a family magazine, the biggest family magazine in South Africa, called Huisgenoot. And I used to choose alternative topics. And when I read a review about the book that had appeared, written by Elizabeth Klarer, I made an appointment to see her and spent a day with her, because I thought this is just up my street, this kind of anything different and out of the box. One can also wonder, why would Akon choose Elizabeth Klarer of all people on Earth? Why would he choose her to take with him to his planet and to give him a son? One of the reasons that she mentioned was that she was a descendant of the Venus tribe on Earth, the original Venus people, and he wanted to import fresh blood into his race for the strengthening of their bloodline.
Yeah. So Akon's looking for some of that pure Venusian blood in a woman to what? To fix his people?
He's coming for that Venusi is what he was coming for, dude.
Ew. I mean, kudos on the term. That's very good. That's very good.
It's
Congrats.
clear. It's
but
clear
also
that
gross.
That's what was going on, though. Like, he thought that she had some Venus in her, and he was trying to put a little Meton in her.
He knew, what I mean? Yeah, or the man from Meton.
I could have taken that joke so much worse. I'm not going to do that.
But he is, I guess it's a noble cause. He's trying to fix his people by making a baby with this lady. And I want to ask, I guess I'll ask both of you, what do you think of older pictures of Elizabeth Klarer? I find her attractive in a strange way.
You would.
I'm going to have to actually look it up really quick. Rob, you go ahead while I look it up.
Well, when Rob has seen this, I don't know. She looks like younger pics of my grandma. I don't know why.
Did you find your grandma attractive?
Damn, dude, is your grandma hot? Oh, wow, your grandma must be real hot.
She reminds me of her.
I'm looking at pictures of her right now. She's pretty. She's pretty spicy.
She's very pretty.
Yeah.
But this happened when she was younger. This happened in her prime time.
Exactly.
Years,
that's
right?
what I'm trying to think of.
Yes.
Dude, the pictures I'm seeing currently still would.
And I would say in her older years, she almost looks like Ruth from 6 Feet Under, the actress Frances Conroy, who was in like American Horror Story and stuff. She reminds me a lot of her. If they're going to make a proper film, I think that'd be the perfect.
Frances Conroy is hot. That is for sure.
All right, younger one maybe. All right,
looking that up right now too. I am unlearned.
Treat yourself. There you go.
Anyway, she looks just
Frances
like her.
Conroy in your
Frances
afternoon.
Conroy. What the fuck, Rob?
Rob,
what the fuck?
Yeah, that's on Rob. Forget anything I said about my grandma. So right now we're also going to meet Kitty Smith, and this is a friend of Elizabeth and founder of South Africa's oldest UFO club, who chimes in to talk about the romance of it all. And again, I missed this on Valentine's Day, but the theme lives on in this clip.
It does have a very romantic aspect to it when Elizabeth tells you that this man was her soulmate. Akon was her soulmate. And she had dreams of him long before she met him.
I knew his name through telepathic communication. And he'd watched me as a child.
Do you know anything about aliens? Have you ever read Elizabeth Klarer's book? Have you ever met her? Have you done any research? I said, you go out there and do 30, 40 years of research like I have done, and then come back and tell me they don't exist.
Mic drop, boom, grandma spaghetti right there. You guys don't know nothing. This woman, Kitty, who a friend who knows her well, her friend is a hardcore believer in the story. She does not waver.
She's a stan for sure. She's definitely like her. If Elizabeth Klarer was still around, this would have been her hype woman, because she is basically speaking for Elizabeth in this documentary.
Having Granny in your corner, you can't go wrong. I don't know. I've never had a grandma, but I have like a step grandma, and it's kind of the best thing ever.
That's one of the things that really stands out about Elizabeth Klarer in this documentary is how many people are willing to sort of like die on the hill that Elizabeth Klarer was telling the truth about this. A lot of people, they really regard her, at least locally, it seemed like, as being very truthful in what she said, and that they don't look at it as being this crazy thing. They're like, she was very lucky with what she got to experience.
Yeah.
And they look, and it's
where they didn't treat her like the local nut. They actually respected her and like listened to her story and like kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
At least in the scope of this documentary, they show it in that way, that like it seems like a lot of people respect her story and believe some of the stuff that she said.
Yeah, and I think that that journalist Petrova, it was responsible for a lot of that, because Elizabeth is very well known in South Africa because of a book that she would release that this is based on, and the writings of Petrova. So we get a lot of great observations by people who became aware of her because of the whole Akon event. And it seems like they're putting an R in there. They're like Arkon, and it's like, all right, I'm going to keep saying Akon.
I think it's that's just the pronunciation. That's just like, there's a lot of different accents in this documentary as well. Because you got South African stuff going on, and then there's like just British accents in there.
South Africans as well.
British South African accents. There's just accents all over the place. So, which hopefully we'll get to one of them in a few minutes, because I was very surprised.
We're going to hear one now, because this is one of my favorite observations from a man that they will introduce mid-clip.
I looked more and more at Clara, and I speak as a person who is an artist of some kind. This woman's ears are not right. Elizabeth Klarer always loved to dress her hair in such a way that her ears were given as little prominence as possible. They were hidden.
Ubaba Pusamazulu awakened the heavens, credo mutua. He was the Zulu Sangoma, a traditional healer and the last high Sanusi from South Africa. He also had a very special bond with Elizabeth Klarer. The story goes that during the height of apartheid in South Africa, they would get arrested by the apartheid police for visiting with each other.
I will be as brief as possible. The common story that is being bandied about by Elizabeth Klarer is that she was an earth woman who was impregnated by a man from the stars. I'm sorry, that is only half the truth. I say in Zulu, Aikona, akunjalo. No, it is not so. This woman was a creature from the stars.
Yeah, that backs up what Akon said about her Venusian roots. And the pics don't lie. Wow. You never really see her ears, and she is in a lot of pictures. And this guy did hang out with her, though. You know, he could
ears.
He's talking about her ears.
Hairs.
Yeah, I have a clip.
Okay.
He says,
"This woman's ears are not right."
Not right. Those ears are not right.
I wish I could see.
What does he mean? Like, does she have pointy ears?
Yeah,
is
like
that what he's
Spock
implying?
ears or something?
She got Spock ears. This
Just
dude,
holes in the side of her head. There was no
we
ears.
don't know. And he was sitting with her. He could have like grabbed an ear if he really wanted to and checked it out. He never did. Maybe he was just being respectful.
Probably.
There's something so funny about being like, if you look closely at all of the pictures of her, she's covering her ears all the time. There's something going on with those ears. She's an alien. Like there's literally nothing else really pointing in the direction that she's an alien, except for the fact that she hides her ears.
And she didn't have to. Like, I mean, her hair could have hid it the whole time. Like,
well, that was the
people
thing.
don't
She
really notice.
She would the way she put her hair. Yeah, she just covered the top. And yeah, girls who want to be a little mysterious and maybe pretend you're an alien, delete all pictures of your ears and start covering it all the time. And maybe some guy eventually be like, yeah, I never saw her ears. She, might be
what my
Venusian.
favorite thing is when guys think that I'm an alien. So I'm going to do that to all of my pictures.
I think there are some people out there with pointy ears. I like just naturally pointy ears. So I think even if they were pointy and she's hiding them because she's self-conscious about having irregular ears, that doesn't make her a Venusian.
You know? Right. That just makes her self-conscious.
Literally. That's all it is. And I mean, we're all guilty of that in some way, I think.
Yeah, but we're not being sped off in velvet spaceships to make space babies.
Although we wish we were.
That is true.
Oh,
I think we all want to be, though.
Still waiting.
I don't want to make space babies, but we'll see.
Damn, man. Just keep wishing.
Yeah, but one thing I did wish for is to see a lot of Elizabeth Klarer's cool stuff, and that wish was granted because they show a lot of just Elizabeth's personal items. They show a lot of photos she took in like 1956 of different flying saucers, and they kind of have that Billy Meyer element of almost looking like a hubcap kind of thrown in the air, if you remember a lot of the Billy. But they're not bad.
Oh, yes.
They're not terrible, especially for the box brownie camera of the time that she had. It's not too bad, but she also had tons of.
They do honestly look like cooking pans thrown in the air. They do look like that.
Somebody didn't want to do the dishes.
Well timed and good enough to look kind of like a UFO, and that's the least of her story is those pictures. But she has a lot of correspondence with the American government, the Air Force. Lots of different governments reached out to her after this and did take her serious because she does kind of come from a scientific background. Let's not forget she is a meteorologist, a very accredited meteorologist. So
many people are. There's so many of them.
I forgot that she has those credentials. That's legit.
Yeah, if the local meteorologist said this happened to him, I'd probably believe him more than anybody else.
Yeah, so super trustworthy, right?
Resume is meteorologist, and then right underneath it, alien abductee and lover.
Yeah,
and lover. I would love to put that
writer.
on my resume. Well, here's the thing, too.
Writer.
Okay, so meteorologists are really not known for being trustworthy because everyone's always pissed off, like, oh, the weatherman got this wrong and can't predict shit.
Well, I guess, they do talk about how she had a ton of hobbies. She was like, she rode horses and all this other shit too. So I guess
she's a horse.
She does have a better resume than I'm giving her credit for. I take it back, Elizabeth.
You can't put your hobbies on your resume, Rob.
You can if you want to. You can create
if you want to, but you're not
a whole subsection.
I don't know. I'd say
you know what? Actually, you probably could
50s,
get hired.
She's super impressive. Like I think so. And if we heard in that, that was a Zulu leader kind of talking about his relationship with her. I love the connection that Elizabeth Klarer has with long existing Zulu folklore concerning UFOs, which we're going to learn more about in this clip.
My sister phoned me one day and said, the Zulus are seeing what they call, in their language, the wagon in the sky. And the folklore, of course, this also comes in to their folklore, and The correct Zulu name for the flying saucer is the lightning bird.
Beyond the light barrier, page 14. Ikanya, elikanya, emnyame. A light that enlightened the darkness. A Zulu praise.
My sister again phoned me and said, you'd better come down, because the lightning bird again is in the sky, and the Zulus are very excited.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame them? And I don't know. I might do that too, or like I don't know if I'd run to him like Elizabeth Klarer did, but
I'm sorry, you might what?
This whole wagon in the sky, I guess it becomes like a big event, like the lightning bird and the wagon in the sky, and that she's all connected with it, and it kind of it's a little corroboration. There's folklore to back up her corroboration.
That doesn't sound terrifying to you?
A lightning bird does sound scary. It also sounds like weird cop code. It's like the lightning bird is in the sky. Shoot the moon. Shoot the moon. Like it's like
exactly. Like I just I can't rush towards something like that. That sounds way too big of an event, unless everybody's in on it.
It just kind of adds a little more corroboration. There's a lot of UFO shit going on, it seems like, in South Africa. There's just a lot of UFO activity going on there. More than I think a lot of people realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be a hotspot.
And not only a hotspot, and her kind of being the center of all of this. And so far, everyone involved in her life that we've heard from in this is totally on board with the story of Akon and the lovemaking and the space baby. It's the greatest love story ever told. Sorry, David Huggins. But wait, Miss Klarer is not without her skeptics. Let's hear from skeptic Paul Brogan.
That's not a good love story. It's not a good love story at all. He comes, impregnates her, brings her back, takes the baby, and never sees her again. That's not a good love story. A good love story is my wife and I, we get married and we stay together for the rest of our natural lives. That's a love story.
Oh, my God.
And that happens every day. Why are we not glorifying that? This is not a love story to be glorified or to be admired or to be copied. Not at all, not in my opinion. We have guests who come here, stay with us, especially, to go and visit the UFO landing site, where Akon, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, seduced his little earthling and swept her up into his arms or tentacles or whatever and took her off to Alpha Centauri. And they have met her, and they believe her story. And unfortunately, I haven't met her. And being a skeptic, and being someone who doesn't easily believe in the irrational, I have to treat her story with some reserve.
Yeah, that's Paul Brogan, the engineer, stockbroker, company exec, environmentalist, community leader, writer, and, of course, skeptic. Who is
hater?
Wow,
also,
aka hater. Thank you, Rob.
I think he's pleading with the crowd for some kind of sanity, and it sounds like he gives. They didn't get too deep into what he does, but it sounds like he gives tours in the area. I'm sure those tours are a blast with this guy going. This is all. What does he say? He goes,
"That's not a good love story. It's not a good love story at all.
It's not a good love story at all." Yeah,
it's not a good love story.
You know what? Yeah, hater. He's like, everyone should be boring like me and my fucking wife because we're just. I don't know what the fuck he said. It sounded dumb.
I didn't actually think of what someone would be like if they vehemently went against her and tried to disprove her and what that would sound like or look like. And this is it right here, man. And it's ugly. It's not fun. I don't like it. I like better when we just all pretend that everything that she says is true and that we just believe her and don't ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, but he's a bad skeptic.
Fantastic.
Well, he's a bad skeptic too, because he takes him to this place called Kafkin Peak, which is, I guess, is the UFO hill. And it's pretty cool. It's like the size of a soccer field on top of a big hill. And this is where they fucked. And nothing.
Okay. Without much decorum there, Russ.
It's a Valentine's episode. I'm trying to be romantic.
You're trying to be romantic.
But nothing grows. Nothing grows where they fucked there. And he points that out himself.
Jesus.
No, he points that out himself, and they show older photos of the top of this hill of the dip. They show pictures of the dip, and there's tons of vegetation there. But in the years following this story,
why do you think there's so much vegetation there, dude?
Why do you think there isn't now?
Now, yes.
A lot of fertilization?
I think that something went down there, and that spot has now been something's energy has
I think a
burned
lot of
that
something
location.
went down there.
Yeah, that. Well, I think the it could be because the way that the ship landed. She said it landed belly down. It just kind of settled and just flatly laid there in the dip. You know, maybe the ship
Face down, ass up. That's the way they like to land.
Maybe it sterilized the ground in a way that now, you know,
Radiation.
nothing
It could be
grows there. Yeah,
anything, yeah.
radiation, heat.
Nothing
who
grows.
knows?
Of course not.
So he's a great skeptic, this guy, Paul Brogan. But strangely, another one of her skeptics is her own son, David, who they go into a story about how David allegedly met Akon, but he doesn't remember it. His mother tells the tale in the book that she was riding horses with her son, and Akon showed up, and that he was there, and the son was there.
However the fuck you say it.
And the son was there. He remembers the event, but
he's got a lot of names.
He remembers the time, but he's like, no, this never really happened. I just don't remember it. Maybe Akon erased his memory. And we also learned from Elizabeth that you cannot photo Akon, that she almost got a photo of a hologram of him once, and that was as close as he's gotten to being photographed. But he does have a bust that is made of him that they show in here a lot. There's a great bust of Akon made by some guy who was in I guess telepathic communication with Akon, and Elizabeth Klarer kind of commissioned this, like, hey, could you make a bust of my space boyfriend? And he goes, I don't know what he looks like. So he somehow telepathically made this thing, and it does look like the painting she made of him. This bust is much bandied in this. You get to see it a lot. It looks exactly like her painting. It's almost like, well, you had to use that as a reference. But he claims he had telepathic connection with Akon to make this. Rob, what do you think of that bust?
Can we discuss the elephant in the room, which is that, I mean, I don't know if this is a spoiler. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this right now, but that it is alluded to that these portraits and the bust of Akon look like a male version of Elizabeth herself.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh,
that is
shit.
So if you do look closely, now I don't remember if you can see the tops of his ears in that, but it does look like she drew like almost like those face swap apps where you can, like, you know, switch genders and everything. It does.
Those are the best.
They do bring that up in this, and it does make you go, you know what? Maybe you're right a little bit, but maybe that's what he saw in her. Maybe that's what he
saw
wanted.
himself.
Yeah, he's
Because
like, oh my
that's-
God, you look like me. I want to bone me. Fuck
That's
yeah.
what everyone is really looking for. They're just looking for themselves
They
because
just
everyone
want-
is obsessed with themselves. So they're just trying to find themselves
really
to love
true?
out there. I think so. I
Because
think there's
nobody
something
on
to that.
Meton even looks like me besides me. So if I find a girl that looks like me and does things like me,
I guess that's what you're going to go for.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know. The portrait or the picture of her was very interesting as well. How she was just like a glare, and she was like, if you had taken it 3 seconds earlier, you would have gotten a full picture of him head to
Elizabeth
toe.
Klarer.
No,
And it's
this
just
is
like
Elizabeth Klarer next to an image that is allegedly a hologram of Akon. I can't even say hologram. I'm saying hologram now.
hologram.
Trying to say these words the wrong way. I'm saying every word the wrong way.
You're doing great. No, you're fitting right in with everybody in this documentary.
But no,
You're
they
doing
were
great.
trying to get the hologram image, but it was a blur. I guess they took the photo 1 second too soon, a second too late. Who knows?
But
he
just
did
the
make
way
it in
that
there.
she says, like, she's like, if you had just taken it like 2 seconds earlier, you would have had he would have been on display for you, but you're just a little
You
too
could have
late.
gotten
So
the full
sorry.
centerfold, but you fucked up.
If you look close, you probably said,
This woman's ears are not right.
okay, maybe
They're
his
not right. They're not right. Her ears are not right.
Not right.
What does that mean?
They're
We
not
don't know.
Right, Rob.
Yeah,
What do you
big.
She got
mean?
big ears. Okay.
We'll find someone.
They're
We'll
just
interview,
not right.
We'll interview someone. There's a whole list of people in this. We'll find one of them to get to the bottom of this. But also in this, so we talked a lot about, in South Africa, a lot of UFO things going on. They also touch on one of our favorite UFO cases, the 1994 Zimbabwe aerial school sighting, which of course, very major, very believable, probably the most believable just sighting of actual aliens that
It was fucking Akon the whole time.
could have been him and his
The whole
buddies.
time.
Akon. I don't know what we call him
Shit.
anymore.
Arkham.
It was definitely him.
Akron, Ohio.
Makes so much
Akron.
sense.
Why
Except she describes him as being very well put together. And from what I remember, the aliens over there were a bunch of hippies.
They were
a bunch
hippies running around.
Oh yeah, they were Rasta.
These were the kids.
Which is different. I mean, it's different, but it doesn't mean that they're not, like up to the tens.
Yeah, maybe, maybe they cross paths.
Yeah.
Those aliens and these aliens.
I mean, look,
I'd like to
how
think so.
many different types of people live here on Earth, and how many different types of aliens are going to be living on a different alien planet?
I thought you were going to say
they don't all fucking dress alike.
I thought you were just going to say how many different types of humans live on Earth? How many different types of aliens live on Earth?
I mean,
because
true,
honestly,
that too.
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I'm on board with that as well. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Speaking of a lot of people being on this Earth, a lot is made in this documentary about Akon and his message of environmentalism and nuclear avoidance, which is kind of a theme that we get with a lot of abductees, contactees. That the message is, we're fucked. We're gonna blow ourselves up. Nuclear weapons is what started all this. We're just trashing the world and the animals and everything.
We lost control by blowing off that first nuke.
That was it.
We are no longer in control of our fate. So,
and then the second and third one, we really fucked up.
Yeah, and Chernobyl.
Also, Russ, did you say animals?
I might have.
I don't know if we decide to blow the bomb up, though. Isn't that part of our fate? Like, we're still in control.
Still in control.
I don't know how we've lost control of the situation, to which point now Akon needs to step in and guide us through Elizabeth.
That's a really, really good point.
Through a lot of people.
What if we want to fucking destroy ourselves?
Yeah, what if this
maybe
is
he's
part
being
of our
selfish.
destiny?
He's like, I don't want irradiated Venusian blood. I need that shit pure. I want that shit pure. Don't mess up. This is my only blood bank where we can fix our people. So don't ruin your people so we can fix ours.
We do get that confused sometimes. This isn't about us. We're literally just like, we're a pawn in this game. Like, we don't even know about the real shit that's going on their planet.
Fuck them though. Like, I don't know. My whole idea is like, it should be about us. Fuck them.
Yeah.
What do we want to do with ourselves?
This was about us and what we're doing ourselves quite a bit. It was a strange turn of this to take because they talked about Chernobyl for quite a bit. They even do a moment of remembrance for the victims of Chernobyl.
I didn't know what was going on.
Say
I was so confused.
I will say RIP.
That's so nice of them.
This is kind of a midpoint. And Rob, I know we'll mention it. I want to say this. You really should check out this documentary. Anyone listening, Beyond the Light Barrier. It's on Amazon and Tubi and everything. Take an edible before, because the way it's filmed is really great. And even the way the narrator is portrayed, he's sitting in front of a screen. There's like a star screen projecting on him. It's very visually captivating. Well, you want to watch more of this. The pacing of it is great. It's a really well done documentary.
I'm watching this documentary, and at first they show the narrator and they have this projector setup thing going on where it's like him with the space lit across him, but he's kind of just a silhouette. You can't really see him. And then they pan across his face, and I see him, and I'm like, that's Black Panther's father from the Marvel movies. And I like they didn't kind of give you any sort of entry point there. They just kind of randomly, I was just like, for a moment, I had to stop for a second. I was like, that is him. I was like, okay, this makes perfect sense, I guess, because he's from Wakanda. This is South Africa. Now I get it. And it was just a strange moment for me because I recognized him, didn't realize where, and then I realized I was looking at the King of Wakanda.
You had a moment of connection.
Yeah, it was cool.
And he's great. He's one of the best.
Another reason to watch the documentary. If you like Black Panther, you'll love this. It's great.
Yeah. And they even do, like I said, they do this moment of remembrance for Chernobyl, which is our RIP. But here is Elizabeth Klarer and filmmaker Dennis Delestric talking about the environment and such.
The ozone layer there in the stratosphere is there to protect us from the sun's lethal rays. And we are causing trouble up there.
Well, I think at some point we're all worried about the future, because as you get informed, you see that we are in danger when we have built enough resources and weapons now to destroy ourselves, basically. There's now 9,000 nuclear weapons that are on air trigger alert. That means that they can be launched in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, way to bring down the mood. I'm hoping for a lot of alien lovemaking in my Elizabeth Klarer documentaries.
Let's talk about how we're going to kill ourselves.
Yeah, no, this documentary definitely has a hard time staying focused on the Elizabeth Klarer topic. They seem to venture off every once in a while, and they go deep down some rabbit holes. But
that was his message, and she's a meteorologist, so you're supposed to be like, oh shit, if an alien tells a meteorologist that we're fucked, like we're fucked.
Right? Dude, if they're talking about aliens and then talking about the end of the world, then I'm paying attention, I guess.
Well, the thing I could hang on to, though, is like, it was very distracting. I was worried about her ears the whole time. Anytime you hear her talking, I'm just staring at her ears. I have to go back and listen.
Those ears.
I'm like, what's going on
You
with
can't
those
get
things?
off of the ears
I'm
thing,
waiting
huh?
for one to slip out. Like, watching her talk is
Ew,
very difficult. As soon as he said, watch
That
for the
sounds
ears.
nasty, dude.
I'm an ear guy myself, so I totally understand. I know
Both
what you're
of you,
talking about, man.
gross. Ew.
I love a nice set of ears.
I'm going from a researcher standpoint.
I gotta see
Back in
him.
the cage with both of you.
I gotta see him.
Well, thankfully, it does get back to Akon, who Elizabeth explains is monitoring human brains and thoughts, and that we are a very barbaric people, and that his people from Meton, they take care of their environment and their animals with revolutionary food growing systems.
They have. It's a way of living and thinking and eating. Well, their diet consists of fruits and vegetables. And this food is grown in a liquid, scientifically grown.
Hydroponics?
And as you go to pick a fruit or a salad, it simply regenerates itself straight away. So there's no loss, there's nothing to worry about. It's the most incredible way of getting one's entire protein and vitamins. They get it firsthand through this vegetation that they grow.
Yes, you got instant salad and fruit growers, and that's all they eat.
And let's not forget the vitamins.
You get all your vitamins, all your protein from it. But man, it's got to get
so many
boring.
vitamins.
It's got to get boring. Plus, it's all grown in water, so everything you eat is wet when you get it.
Like, I mean, food can be boring sometimes. It's fuel. I get it. Like sometimes food is just fucking food, you know? But
She
all
says
the time,
it though. She says it right there. It's a lifestyle. It's
Yeah.
like
It
it's
is.
more
It
than
really
just
is.
food.
Is that what it's
a
like to
whole
be
thing.
vegan? I'm sorry. I don't mean
That
to
is
offend
exactly
anybody, but
what
my
it is,
God.
I think. I mean, I've never done it. I don't think I ever will be able to. But
Never could.
that's what I would imagine it would be like. And I don't know. Seems like
maybe this is why Chantel was saying she's going to miss her KFC, because maybe she knew if she was going to leave. Well, spoilers for the poll later.
Oh, I mean, good.
You think aliens are growing vegetation and eating plants?
Yeah.
On their spaceship? You do think that? You really
it
think
regrows
like they're not past that? We haven't gotten past.
I feel like their digestive systems are probably so different that they like don't need anything but like dust, so they can have pica or whatever all they want and just eat space dust.
A leaf?
Eat fucking rocks. Like
I just did remember something.
A leaf.
Yeah.
What's the last thing you ate?
A leaf?
So yeah, it lines up.
I
We
miss
are
hearing
cued in
Brian's
on
voice.
this one.
It all lines up,
But
actually.
the way she says it, she's like,
Yeah.
you could pick up a salad and then it regrows. It's like a whole salad. Like, are they different? It's like, I'll
Oh,
take
really?
that.
So I didn't have to
Take
pay
the
fucking $30 for that lunch? Okay.
corn one.
You just don't understand. You pick it and then it just grows right back. It's the way that
Instantly.
it works. You just it instantly
It's
grows
all wet.
back.
Oh, I don't need all
It's,
that.
but
wet.
you'll love it. It's delicious. It's a lifestyle.
Wet salad.
Wet salad. It rejuvenates itself. It's all the vitamins that you're ever going to need, and it
Vitamins.
grows. It literally just they eat it every day. They love it.
Yeah, so that sounds great, amazing. We should all emulate that. Another part of this that I found fascinating was when we meet Elizabeth's longtime travel companion, friend, and assistant, Peroska Clements, who was given a lot of Elizabeth's cool Akon-related items after she passed. Especially cool is the Ring of Akon.
This is so cool.
This is a
Ew,
ring.
his cock ring, dude.
This is a ring that Elizabeth Klarer claims was a gift from Akon with a super awesome crystal in it that helped stay in communication over the many light years. And it is now in the possession of Peroska's daughter, Audrey Rame. She is going to talk now. This is the new keeper of the space ring.
Audrey is Peroska's daughter who inherited the ring.
When my mom passed away, I received the bust and the ring. And somehow I always feel I have this connection with my mother and Elizabeth.
Word from many Elizabeth devotees are that its gems and rocks were analyzed and that its components were not to be found to be from this planet, not even a little.
People have asked this question, like, please, if we could offer you money to take the ring, to have it taken to a geologist, to have it analyzed, would I be open to that? My answer to that question is no. My mom asked me to please keep this ring safe while if she is no longer here, and that is what I'm doing.
Come on, Lady Frodo, can we just borrow it?
Take it somewhere.
We'll keep it secret. We'll keep it safe.
Yeah, take it somewhere safe and have them check it out. Like, you don't have to leave it. Just bring it to a stone specialist. You know,
She's
someone
not
who
buying it.
specializes
Look,
in diamonds
you mean a
or
stoner?
rings. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of stoner, Rob, you should seduce this lady. You could get that ring for her. She's not going to give it
Where
to
does
someone
she
else.
live?
I don't know.
South Africa, dude.
All right, cut
South
this part out.
Africa.
Make it out there.
Audrey Rame, we'll find her.
I'll send her a DM. I don't know. Maybe she.
Send her some of your stones, huh?
How do I get my hands on this ring? I don't know.
Finger in that ring, man. You can communicate.
Ew.
I've been thinking about it actually, like since I watched the documentary earlier, and I was wondering, like, you know, down the line, this ring will lose its importance eventually. Like someone
They
in this
tend to.
family who it gets passed down along to will not give a fuck about this story, and it will just become a ring in a drawer in someone's house.
So
that'll just be bouncing around eventually. But right now, just think about how coveted it is and how mysterious it is. I almost like, do you even want them to really analyze it?
I think they already did, but they won't do it again. Allegedly, Elizabeth Klarer claims that it was analyzed, but it hasn't in a long time
She said
now.
so many things.
She said a lot of things, but no. Now that Audrey has it, she's holding on to it. She also has the bust. She doesn't talk much about the cool bust she has. She's like, the bust, it's fine. It's kind of creepy.
Probably
but the
We
ring,
should talk more about
it's like,
the
oh,
bust.
look at this thing.
It's
You know?
so big. It's a life-size bust. It's literally like a
Jesus.
full head, and it's just this ugly man's head, this alien man's head, this elderly man. What is she? Where, do you think she has to put it away and only take it out when people come over to talk about the Elizabeth Klarer
She
stuff?
takes it out as a punishment.
I feel like he'd be reading
now
my
you have to look
mind.
at the
Like every
bust.
second I had that thing on. It was meant to, like, the super powerful crystal was meant to like communicate with him over the light years. That's what she claimed. But that's it for the ring. We know where the ring is. That's all of that.
So
but
crazy that there's a ring. Once I
great.
saw that, I was like, it made me I really want to try this ring. I want to see if I put it on, if I can be like, hello, Akon, can you hear me?
Wonder
And if
sex
he's
aliens
hello.
activate. Like,
It's
what do you
not going to
do?
be like a risk communicator, Rob. I mean,
Elizabeth,
as much
is
as we
that
wish it
you?
were.
Is that you,
Hello?
Elizabeth? Like, yes, it's
I'm
me.
coming, Elizabeth. I'm coming. Sorry, never mind.
I'm coming back. I'll meet you at the dip. Meet me at the dip, Elizabeth.
No, you don't have to meet her there. There's a better place to meet her on Meton. It's not on Meton, actually, because I perked up at this part.
Meet, huh?
Meet me on Meton.
You're gonna
Sounds
meet
like
her
a-
here because, no pun intended. You're gonna meet her here because this is a part I perked up a lot. She started talking about what Akon calls the mothership, which is a planet-sized, quote, vintage ship that has trees growing inside and bluegrass for carpet. It's like the opposite of the Death Star. She claims this is a vintage spaceship, which is basically a planet like the Death Star, but it has bluegrass and everything grows inside. It even smells good in there. And this is where Elizabeth Klarer had her space baby at age 50. At age 50, when she had the child, she was taken to this place. It's called the mothership. And from all accounts, the birth went swimmingly.
Akon attended to the birth of his son by simply using his wonderful healing hands and massaging me. And he put me on this beautiful divan that was covered in rose red silks, and the lovely coolness and softness of that silk. I was quite naked, naturally.
Quite naked.
Then this beautiful boy, he was really a golden boy, was born. He never even cried. He just took a deep breath, taking in that beautiful oxygen air into his lungs, and this is all he needed.
Yeah.
Damn.
So the golden baby of Akon, the man with the healing hands. And I'll say this is the part where the doubts come in from her own son, her Earth son, not the space son. He is not buying this part because he was
Dude,
around.
I mean, do you hear what she just said? The baby
Earth
came
children
out.
always doubt.
The baby came out, literally didn't cry, flexed, and that was it. And let out a sigh of relief that it was finally born. Like I feel like I keep picturing this baby is born fully jacked. Like this baby's got full on, like, muscly little baby with a receding hairline and already wearing glasses. It's just been born, but it's got glasses
just
on
chock
already.
full of steroids, like all the time, just already ready to disrespect women.
And it just comes
Everywhere.
out and it doesn't cry. It just is confident in itself. And it just takes a
Probably
sigh
cries
of
all the time,
relief.
but yeah.
One sigh of relief. No, she said it didn't cry at all. It just
it's
came
a perfect
out.
mix of Meton and Venusian baby. It's
A
very
perfect
well planned.
golden boy.
Yeah.
Ew.
It's our little-
I don't like it.
It's our
I
golden
don't like
boy.
that
Yeah.
description.
And like I said, this is when the son had a lot of doubts because he knew his mom at the time, and he's not buying this. He argues that like the postpartum stress would have been noticeable, that she would have had some kind of disconnection because she leaves the baby there. She comes back here. She doesn't really see Akon very much after this at all. And she's
That's
like,
what it.
my mom didn't really say much about baby coming out and not having anything.
He does kind of. I love that he's like, trust me, I knew my mom. She was crazy and
She
would
was a
never leave
bitch.
me alone. So if she had another child, it would be affecting her because she would need to get in touch with that person. And the fact that the fact that he was raised by her and he doesn't recall her ever feeling, the longing for this other child like that you would think that would be a pretty intense, that would really be a depressing factor in someone's life if they had their child ripped away from them without any,
for sure.
She was like, he's
control of the
already probably
situation.
in college like 2 weeks later. He's a gold. This kid does not need me. He's a golden child.
The whole process extremely expedited. Like, how long was she pregnant for? Was it just like
Probably a week.
Akon?
I mean, she was 50. It had to be pretty quick. Like, he had to we got to cook this.
Okay,
quick.
2 weeks.
Yeah, she had a teenager. Isn't that the old joke? All
Is
right.
that how it works? You get older and it gets faster? I don't know how.
Hell yeah, it does.
I don't remember. I didn't pay attention in health class, but I don't think that's how it works.
So that's a huge part of her story.
okay.
But, that's all covered in one of her books. She released 2 books, but she had a third book that was in the works like for decades, and it was never finished, and it was called The Gravity Files. It was all about...
Great name.
Yeah, great name. Gravity
Really, like,
Files.
that should be a podcast.
Gravity
If it's not already a
Falls meets
podcast
the
out there called Gravity Falls.
That's what
Instead of
it
Gravity
was.
Falls, yeah.
Gravity Falls
I
meets
love
the
it.
X-Files is what it was. But this book was supposed to be all about Akon's technology and how to build it. Things like the gravity belt, which is a belt. It makes a little force field around you and you can fly around.
Yes.
Great thing. But
Sounds tight.
now, the thing is, she wasn't scientifically capable enough, even though she was a meteorologist, to fully describe whatever this tech was. But a lot of scientists in many different nations, they took interest and they attended her 1974 conference presentation. And I will say they loved it. They loved her talking about all this technology she saw, even though she couldn't fully form, blueprints and schematics of it all, things like the gravity belt and everything else that Akon had. They all loved it. And I know I mentioned
She was an idea person. She was an idea girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she was an idea
there's nothing
woman.
wrong with that, not having to follow through. It just means she needed a team.
Well, she's
good.
She's just observing these things. You're being way too skeptical. She was just observing these things and she can't.
It's not skeptical.
Yeah, of course it is. But
I believe in her.
I kind of do too. And I mentioned her son being skeptical about his mom, firstly because of the alleged space baby, but even more so by a discovery he made just a few years ago when he found her original 1958 manuscript for her first book about Akon, that Beyond the Light Barrier, and how this original manuscript, it differed wildly from the tale that she would stick to for her whole life.
Meanwhile, this is the son who throughout this whole documentary has been, you could tell by the look on this man's face that he has put up with this his whole life. He doesn't want to let his mom look like a fool. And he doesn't want her to disprove her. He really wants the things that she said to be true. He wants to believe his mom.
He seems proud of his space brother too.
Mama?
He's like, I have an actual brother out there in space. And he tries to.
You can tell by the look on his face that he's aware of how many holes there are in this story though. And it is a problem for him. He's conflicted. And I feel so bad for him because this is his, it's legacy. It's his mother's legacy.
He ends up kind of finding what some would call a smoking gun, because the original manuscript he found was titled Autobiography of a Venusian. And she was, and it was, just a very different story. Meton wasn't a part of it. In this, it was all about a Venusian, but later she's a Venusian. But also around this time,
oh no,
she was accused of plagiarism too. In this documentary, they talk about her accusations of plagiarism. But that really came down to just scientific books that she had where she was just underlining certain terms, which is just for knowledge in general, which is like something everyone
just for knowledge, dude. Yeah, everyone does that.
So they poo-pooed that.
There's no way that she was just pulling terminology out of these other books and inserting it into her writings to make it seem like that they were more official than they were. That's totally not what we're implying she was doing.
Does that?
But, she was definitely
the vocabulary
to she was doing her research. She was doing her research.
So we then meet a guy named Paul Slaboletsky, who is working on a play adaptation of Beyond the Light Barrier called Rosetta's Secret. And oh boy, he is very excited about it.
I started reading Beyond the Light Barrier, and also reading about her. And I can't tell you the number of times I shouted out loud in my quiet little study when, wow, what? A pilot, a painter, played the piano, rode horses. Renaissance woman is too small a word. I said, do people realize what this person was way back in the 50s and stuff? It's almost beyond belief, but she did those things. And I think that's what kept me going, because I had what I call my 35-year appointment with Klarer. So how do you get your message across? How do you, because subtle things don't get messages across. The things that get messages across are noise and shouting and listen to my story. It's like a rat race. It's like everything's like, wah! Not the quietness. But the quietness is a thing that works. If you can find a way of living in the stillness, you can find an answer to anything. It's like people say, where do your stories come from? Where do your plays come from? They come from the stillness. Like the stillness. It's like connecting with that. And Klarer connected with the stillness. And in the stillness came Akon. People might not believe Klarer's story, but I think perhaps what she did was she lied her truth. She wanted to get her story to many, many people, and the only way she could do that was by lying the truth.
Yeah, blame the stoners. Akon is your fault, Rob. You stoners embrace this.
What?
I mean, did he say stoners or like?
I think he was saying stoners about a million times at the end.
Right?
He also said Renaissance woman.
Yeah, that's why I was like, is it the accent? He's trying to say something else like stunners.
Yeah, but he also said
what?
Which is a great sound clip. And of course, I'm going to keep this all the time.
Listen to my story.
Anytime no one's listening to me, you're just going to
listen to my story.
Sounds like a timekeeper or gatekeeper.
Like, time to gatekeeper.
Listen to my story.
Gatekeeper, my gatekeeper.
Oh, man.
Check on the Patreon for that shit, right?
So, wow. He brings up, kind of, I guess, a bottom line. If you are skeptical about her and believe this is all made up, that she comes from a good place, that she's still a good person, she just knows the only way she's going to get her message out about environmentalism, taking care of the planet, each other, growing wet plants and salads, or whatever we're going to do.
Ew, wet plants.
We got to get that story out of environment. Basically, it's an environmentalist message. But she had to go with a big story to get people involved in it.
I'm literally just recovering from lying her truth because I don't even know how to interpret that. That's like
I'm using that anytime I get in trouble for anything. Look, I was just lying my truth. You can't.
That's literally.
What does that mean?
It's nothing. It's such a nothing phrase, but it's for some reason I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it completely. Yeah, that's great. Add that to your arsenal of phrases.
It's a nice phrase.
Yeah. And look, if the idea that this was just a good-natured lie / story to cause awareness wasn't bad enough, it gets even rougher because the re-release of her book in the year 2008, it left out some parts that appeared in the original hardback edition. And they read these deleted passages in the documentary. And look, apologies for the longer clip here, but I felt
there's more than 32
I felt
clips.
that I had to play this in its entirety in all 32 flavors.
Page 105 and onwards. The hard copy, 1979. Vast hordes of black people swarming over the surface of the earth have now reached a cycle in the evolution where they clamor for self-rule and domination, where the law of might is right still prevails. These races will continue to breed and swarm, as is the natural way, viral and strong, pushing back other races to the very frontiers of their own homelands. Such widely different ways of living, of hygiene, and above all, of thinking among different civilizations on Earth cannot be mixed at this stage of evolution without moral degeneration and bloodshed. Neither the fishes of the sea nor the beasts of the land mix and mate with different species. But mankind of planet Earth mixes and fornicates with all human species, thereby laying the foundation of progressive degeneration throughout the human species on Earth, as more and more advanced races are absorbed into the common stream.
So that doesn't seem very progressive of Elizabeth Klarer. In fact, it sounds like the opposite.
What?
Is that what the stoners want to hear? Hold on. It was put very proper. She's basically saying she doesn't want the races to mix at all.
Yeah,
very
I
racist
thought it
message.
sounded kind of racist.
Well, I think the point was of him reading that was that, wow, in this later version, they managed to cut that out once it was finally re-released. And it made me question, I don't know, what does she have, swastikas on the top of her ears or something? Like, now what's going on? Is Elizabeth Klarer like a super racist?
See, ears aren't that cool, huh?
What happened to Akon? Why are we talking about her? Why is she talking about this now? How come? Why did she switch to racial theory type
It's like
stuff?
the fucking Ramtha thing, right?
Right. You kind of get roped in with.
Like she was doing a good job getting people like, enthused and like excited about their lives and improving themselves, and then hard tech, we're racist now.
It's such a I don't know, because it seems like she's so close with the Zulu culture and they're all believing in her and wondering what's going on with their ears and everything is kind of going on. And look, on this note, we're going to close with these final words from the great narrator, the king of Wakanda, Dr. John Kani, who has this to say.
But the thing that really sometimes make me feel sad, that I feel that what Elizabeth Klarer represented in that paragraph of the hard copy published in 1979 about what she thought about me as a black person. She's not alone, and I'm afraid it still exists. We need to find a language that's unifying. We need to find a language that promotes reconciliation. We need to find a new English that talks about social cohesion, that talks about forgiveness. Am I offended by what she says? Damn right I am. Do I hate her for it? I don't have space in my heart to hate. I've got so many important things to do.
That's beautiful.
And there he goes.
Off to the spaceship. Goodbye.
Bye.
Safe travels.
Yeah, this thing took quite a turn at the end there, man. For a woman who's so close and accepted by the elders and most respected of the Zulu community, it is shocking to learn that. And I guess maybe if I would have read the original hard copy version, I would have come across that myself, but it's not bandied about much. And to close out a great Elizabeth Klarer documentary with this kind of ending, it does just leave you kind of scratching your head about all of it.
Well, it would be weird if they started it off with this, I think.
Yeah.
If they were like in the beginning, they were like, this is Elizabeth Klarer. Here's some terrible stuff that she said.
Yeah,
like,
that would have been bad.
But also, here's all this funny alien stuff about this alien she fucked. So I guess they do kind of got to save this for the end and tack it on there. And I didn't know that about Elizabeth Klarer.
Me neither.
And it does kind of change the way that I think it changes my thoughts on Elizabeth Klarer a bit after hearing that. But the original story is still what it is. Her skewed views later in life are one thing, but the story that she told about Akon is its own thing, honestly.
It's still legit.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go. What about you, Dre? You got any final thoughts on Elizabeth Klarer? Do you think she went to Meton, had the baby and everything?
Yeah, I still believe everything that she said. Yeah, 100%.
Right.
You know, she's the little bit of haters that have spoken up about her. Nah, I don't believe them. Usually I give a little bit more tact to the people who are going to talk shit and, okay, you know her, so tell us about her. But yeah, and then that and the song that was written about her.
Yeah, he'll always defend that.
The credit.
But then you're always going to have in the
always
back of your
defend
mind, like,
that's not a good love story. It's not a good love story at all.
I mean, what the fuck is even a good love story? Like, fuck that.
yeah, he tells the most boring love stories. Like, I met a boyfriend, I never did anything, and that was it. But he recognizes that also. How about you, Rob? What are your final thoughts? Did she go to Meton? She have this baby, or was this just a nice, beautiful story and lie to get her message across? Of now, I don't know. I thought it was a message of environmentalism. Now I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Before I watched the documentary tonight, I kind of had this feeling in my mind of like, I thought I knew who Elizabeth Klarer was. But then actually watching her tell the story and hearing the details and the way she describes certain things, it leans more and more to it feels like she made this whole thing up. Like,
Elizabeth, I don't even know you. Really? What part? What? I am genuinely curious. What part makes you think that she made
carpeting
it up?
on the inside of the UFO, the bluegrass inside of the mothership. There's a lot of details that I think are very much
having a baby at 50, like no problem at all. But it's space baby.
Hey, listen,
space
we're allowed
baby.
we're allowed to have our own opinions here.
Of course,
I'm just saying, the more and more that she describes things about how his ship magnetically connected to the mothership, and it's just like certain details that it feels like it would have, like trying to imagine these scenarios being real and Akon describing and explaining every intricate detail of how everything works within their culture and on these other planets. And
a little too convenient for you, huh?
It's just, I don't know.
She tried to communicate it. Like, she tried to make her own Secret Machines kind of book. She tried to make that book, and it just didn't happen.
I think she was really trying to save the planet, and she decided to call for some help from another planet that may or may not even exist. And she found love along the way.
Well, see, and that's the most important thing I think we can all take away from this. She got love.
And now she just wants to say to the world,
listen to my story.
And we did. And what should this week's poll be? I don't know where we can go with this. Should it be, do you believe Elizabeth? What was she hiding about her ears? Is she racist? What would be a good poll?
I just kind of want to do one of those fortune teller things where you make like a paper fortune teller, and like, is Elizabeth Klarer going to end up in a shack or a mansion?
Well, she's in a grave now. We know that's for sure. She's
wow,
literally...
Rob. She is.
She's a corpse. She's a skeleton. She's a human skeleton person right now. She's in a grave. It's not like, listen, I don't feel bad about saying that either after the couple last quotes.
Her Venusian blood will live on for centuries on Meton, and her ring will pretty much be yours in the next few months if we play our cards right.
Okay, so
we'll work on that.
Here's the poll.
What planet?
Wait, hold on.
Did she fuck him? Did she?
All right.
Did she have sex with Akon?
Did she fuck Meton? Did she fuck Akon? Did she fuck Akon?
Did Akon and Elizabeth Klarer make whoopee? That will be this week's poll. I'll try to keep it clean.
Did they do the nasty?
And do the old nasty. Did Akon say?
Just pull your top up.
We know he did. All right, that's it. And let's get out and let's hear a song from Akon.
Represent convict music, Akon, AK. Recognize why we don't play. Do it like this each and every day. So please stay in your place. Hate to find you with no peace. Better yet gone with no trace. In other words, please don't start no beef.
All right, Akon, getting down with it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anytime I lie to anybody or get caught lying about anything, I'm just going to say I am lying my truth. Like,
Wow.
That's such a
How often
bullshit
does it happen,
phrase.
Rob?
To get out of bullshit free card.
I get compromised all the time.
I'm just lying my truth, okay? I'm just lying the truth.
What the hell is even that?
Yeah. Elizabeth Klarer, fascinating. It was great. Man, this is, like I said, I can't recommend this enough. Great watch. Eat an edible, do something, have a drink and watch it. So a very fun documentary. You already know the depressing ending coming. So, keep that
Elizabeth
in mind.
sucks.
I mean, we like to not think about it,
But they make you. They kind of put it in your face, and sometimes you have to face things like that. We've respected Elizabeth Klarer and ignored it for a long time. But hey, think of it what you will. They seem okay with her. I did like his last statement about like I don't have I can't hate. I don't got enough time for that. I got better stuff to do than to be hating on people.
That's the way you got to be. That's the way you got to be. There ain't enough room in there to harness hate for all these people. So just fucking
that is a good way
let
to
it
live.
let it go.
Yeah, it really
let
is.
it go.
Yeah.
And if you got something you need to let go, I want to say go check out the Unbelievers podcast voicemail bag. I will admit, give us a call at 469-420-0114. I want to apologize. Since this young year we've had so far, when we did our live stream on New Year's Eve, I did open lines where I used the voicemail, and I never set it back to where it was set to voicemail. So we missed a lot of people, I guess, tried to call and couldn't leave voicemails. I had to change the settings to be able to actually answer that line. And I've done, of course, if you please go follow us on YouTube for our live streams. We're going to be doing one this week. We try to do them every Friday night.
Yeah.
Most Friday nights or Wednesdays, we'll be doing live streams. So go check that out. But yeah, go leave us a voicemail. I want to bring the voicemail bag back. So I don't know, you guys bring a bit, do something. We'll bring the voicemail bag back. We need to bring it back, and it's my fault it's not back. Anyway, we got one more thing we got to get into. It's everyone's third favorite segment. What's that, Drea?
I think it's poll results.
This week's poll, what would you miss the most if you had to leave Earth forever? And the choices were your family, cigarettes, Kentucky, TV, or other. I'm going to ask you, Drea Mora, what do you think the Unbelievers said?
Oh, man. I wish they would say Kentucky, but I think they might say cigarettes.
All right. How about you, Rob?
Well, I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't have any kids. I do like Kentucky, but
do
I don't
have Kentucky.
It's not, honestly, out of all of the chickens out there, the chicken companies, they're not even on my top three.
It's
dude,
better
honestly.
than wet salad.
Okay, what are your top three, Rob?
Obviously, Popeyes.
The Popeyes.
Cane's is very good as well.
Cane's is very fucking good.
Who's another good one? I would say even like Wingstop is better than KFC.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look, a lot is better than KFC, but like, what's the other one? Chick-fil-A?
So my answer will be
Bojangles.
Television. I would miss television. Out of all those things,
God.
I would definitely miss television the most.
All right, well, you guys both lose because coming in with a whopping 62% of the vote is Kentucky fried chicken. Kentucky fried chicken.
I don't eat that shit.
Which has become, Kentucky has just become such a thing between Kentucky Christmas and this. And
I thought it was just Kentucky, the state.
We can't avoid
My
it.
bad.
Family and cigarettes.
A lot as well when we're eating Kentucky or anything to do with chicken.
Family and cigarettes were tied at 14%, and TV came in at a low 10% of the vote. But yes, of course, there are.
Just hearing that family and cigarettes tied is enough for me.
Oh, yeah. That sounds about right.
Of course, there are others. Oh, what would you miss the most if you had to leave the earth forever? The television said, I don't even know how to turn it on, and I'm going to kill you. Signed, Tycoon Titty Boy will never kill you. Thank you, Tycoon Titty Boy. Of course.
Oh, wait.
That's a sound clip. That is a sound clip. I don't even know how to turn it on.
Tycoon Titty Boy will never kill you is his full name.
That's what he signed off in this week. Yes, Tycoon Titty Boy.
You don't even know how to turn on a television set. And I'm going to kill you.
Okay.
Thank you, Thank you so much, Tycoon Teddy Boy will never kill you. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the earth forever? I would not miss not being anally probed every 12 hours. I would miss poll results. Signed, Green Fin Hawk. Yeah.
That's actually really sweet.
Thank you, Green Fin Hawk. I think you're in the lead. What would you miss the most if you had to leave
We
Earth?
know that radioactivity settles in the anus.
My bad.
No, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, you don't want that going
Let
on
it
every
in.
12 hours. Thank you, Green Finhawk. What would you miss the most if you had to leave Earth forever? I'd miss my family, my friends, KFC's Double Down, the good people at Dunkin' Donuts, everyone on the Wednesday night basketball team. I don't want to go. Stop the abduction. Little green aliens, you're hurting my fragile little body. Signed. Signed. New sign in. Used barf bag collector. Thank you, used barf bag collector.
Nice. Gross.
For taking advantage of the full swath of characters you can use in the poll results now. All right. Oh, you mentioned
gross.
KFC. I don't know. We can give them something for that, right?
Oh, yeah. We got Kentucky.
We're eating Kentucky. We looked at time. 2 to 2.5 hours had passed by.
Thank you, used barf bag collector. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the Earth forever? All the world's delicious food. Signed, Retired Pete. Yeah. And we learned tonight all that wet salad. You don't want any of that. Thank you, Retired Pete. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the Earth forever? I would miss Russ doing a terrible interpretation of my real voice. Signed, my name is Jeff. Jeff would miss. Okay. Thank you, Jeff, for missing me doing terrible interpretation of your voice.
Jeff.
Thank you. My name is Jeff. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the Earth forever? Personally, as a typical human male, I would certainly miss many typical human male activities. Activities such as drinking a beer, buying a new flannel when you wake up one morning and your old one is mysteriously torn up, and spending lots of time outside under the light of the full moon, which I can certainly do without incident as I am a typical human male. Signed, Luis P. Garoop. Lou Garoop. Lou Garoop.
Clever.
God damn it. That's the
That
Lou
sounds
Garoop,
awful
all
lot
right.
like a werewolf.
He got
Sounds
you.
an awful lot like a werewolf.
That's Loop Group, all right.
Yep, that's the Loop Garoop, all right. Thank you, Louis P. Garoop. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the Earth forever? What's up with sporks at KFC restaurants? Am I supposed to spork my fried chicken? Signed, Ramadas. Yeah, what else? I think you're supposed to. It's supposed to be used for. No, you're just supposed to pick up the chicken. The spork is for your mashed potatoes.
What are you using? Yeah, exactly.
and your
Like, what are you
coleslaw.
doing with the spork? That's not the chicken. What's wrong with you?
Put it in your potatoes.
Thank you, Ramadas. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the world forever? Weird story, but my dad had a recurring nightmare that Colonel Sanders infiltrated his friend group. My dad knew he was a monster, but his friends loved him. The Colonel unhinged his jaws and swallowed all of his friends whole. Fucking wild. Signed the Wombat Preservationist. Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's surprising. So you don't expect that from the Colonel.
I'm guessing he's not going to miss Kentucky the most out of everything, but
I mean, he might. It kind of sounds like a pretty worthwhile experience.
It does. Thank you, Wombat Preservationist. What would you miss the most if you had to leave Earth forever? The thing I'd miss the most would probably be this podcast. You guys are great. Keep up the great work. Signed,
Oh,
the Rebob. Oh, the Rebob. And a new, maybe new poll resulter or obscure one. Thank you so much, the Rebob. Hey, you're in the lead now.
We should just
That
give
was
it to
really
him.
sweet.
We should just give it to him. There's
I
our
mean,
winner.
I'm
Ding,
not
ding,
going to. No,
We got
that's
a winner.
pandering.
Hold on. I wish I could,
Yeah.
but one of the great pluses of being like a month late doing this episode is that there are a shitload of poll results this week because this poll has been up for like almost.
I was just giving him. I was congratulating him for pandering
Yeah,
to us. I think that's a great technique. I think
Yeah, so I could take a little. It's
Yeah.
fine.
But it is great that this poll has been up for 3 weeks. There's a lot of poll results. Thank you, the Rebob. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the Earth forever? The relentless pursuit of my old dad and his efforts to hurt me. Signed. Come on, who do you think that is?
Scared of my dad guy.
Scared of my dad guy, of course, coming in. What would you miss the most if you had to leave Earth forever? When the comes after our day's work avoiding triangles in sky and there's a Bart to go a Kentucky, but they remembers take away me and see them dressed gray lads out and about.
Sounds like an ex-boyfriend of mine.
I think it's referencing.
Because they took us out, and before we knew it, we can't even remember walking back home. We were put more or less outside my front door.
Okay.
I think that might have been Chantel herself chiming in,
Sounds
but no,
exactly.
It's not Chantel. That's actually Dick McLightning. Thank you, Dick McLightning, for chiming in. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the Earth forever? I don't know why she is so obsessed with Kentucky. That state is so sad. Even the grass is blue. Signed.
It's not even.
Signed.
Wish.
Prakeet. I guess it's supposed to be parakeet. Prakeet. Prakeet. Thank you, Prakeet. Yeah, I don't know. It's mostly the chicken, not the state itself. No one gives two shits about Kentucky. But we know that bluegrass is also on the mothership. So maybe that's another Kentucky reference that we missed.
A little bit.
What would you miss the most if you had to leave the earth forever? Honestly, the entire 10th segment was solid gold from everyone, and picking a quote was damn near impossible, but here goes. Quote, this was 10 years ago. Imagine the innovations that he's dreamed up now. He's like, get in this abductee swing harness and drink this alien remember juice I whipped up while I locked the door on my isolation van. Russ Ryan. And he even gives me a timestamp, 32:42 of the episode. And of course,
holy shit, dude.
Of course, that is host quotes coming in with host quotes. I guess I won host quotes.
Wow, I can't believe you said that.
He's getting better at his job too. I love it.
I know. Yeah. He's bringing receipts. He's got receipts. Thank you.
Honestly, it's making me scared. So thank you for keeping me in fear.
I love it.
What did you say on the show, Drea?
Do Drea this week. You should have some great fodder for that. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the earth forever? I feel like I have unlearned everything I thought I knew about cryptids. I now know they are just various numbers of grays in trench coats just looking for fried chicken. Now I'm gonna eat that shit. He is going to eat that shit.
I'm going to eat that shit.
Signed, Unbelievable Penguin. All right. I know there's a clip for that.
Use your head, brother.
Oh, wait. No. Sorry.
That's good.
Still a good one.
I used to leave him some fried chicken because I didn't eat that.
Right. But Unbelievable Penguin does. Thank you. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the earth forever? I've seen some documentaries where the women have some massive implants. Are they aliens? More research needed. Signed, Whooping Hooper. That is some research we should get to the bottom of.
Answer?
Whooping Hooper.
No.
We will see that.
Those are all natural.
Send me all of your research, Whooping Hooper. I will gladly go over it for you.
What would you miss the most if you had to leave the earth forever? Sitting around and wishing I could leave earth forever. Signed, Corrupted Mask. All right.
Oh, well, shit. Well, there you go. You got it, bud.
That is the perfect thing that you would have to miss because you actually want to leave Earth forever. I love it. Thank you, Corrupted Mask. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the Earth forever? Trousers. Signed, Left-handed Buckle Grabber. I guess you would miss those.
Oh God, that's actually a sound clip too, right? The trousers.
I remember gripping my belt buckle with my left hand, I think it was.
How's he going to grip his belt buckle if he doesn't have any trousers? Yeah, I don't think there is a trousers clip, too. I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah, someday.
The torn trousers.
The trousers, left-hand side of these trousers. Now, these police issue trousers, left-hand side of the trousers. And these trousers, to Robert Taylor's trousers, upwards.
You never know how many. Never know how many you're going to get, you know?
Oh, my God. I'm so glad you found that.
Thank you for finding the trouser supercut. That probably took me a while to put together, and I completely forgot.
Real.
Thank you, Left-handed Buckle Grabber. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the earth forever? Rods. Signed, Rod Lover 69, which I swear is not me. Thank you.
That tracks.
Thank you, Rod Lover. Oh, come on. I'll give her.
Oh, no, Vampire Rod.
Oh, it's a her?
We would miss those two. And yes, Rod Lover 69 is a her. That has been confirmed. What would you miss the most if you left the earth forever? I'd miss my crystal vibrator. Signed, Nikki Blonsky from the movie Hairspray. All right. Yeah.
It may not be a her.
It wasn't even a vibrator. Who knows what it even was?
It
was
didn't
just
do
a
anything.
crystal.
Yeah.
A crystal with a battery attached to it, I think. She put it in her pussy, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
She didn't get it. Well, actually,
all night.
I think aliens did come that night, so it still didn't work. But it, hey,
yeah, it didn't work.
It did something.
It was in there.
Thank you, Nikki Blonsky from the movie Hairspray. What would you miss the most if you had to leave the earth forever? Actually, that was the final one. Someone came in who missed the Giants poll. They want to hear that. Someone from the Giants poll came in and said, the only giant is the one in my pants. I had an erection for like 6 hours. It was pretty painful. I'm big down under. All right. That's just a mopping up from last week, but that's it. A lot of great ones, a lot of great poll results this week. Oh, so many. I'm going to have to go over a few because there are so many.
Seriously, I was not even keeping track this time. I usually am. I'm usually pretty good about keeping track. I was completely just enthralled one after the other.
All right, I'll shoot some out here real quick and see what you guys think. We had All the World's Delicious Food, Retired Pete. We had I would not miss not being anally probed every 12 hours. I would miss poll results, Green Finhawk. We had the television set. I don't even know how to turn it on, and I'm going to kill you from Tycoon Titty Boy. We'll never kill you. We have Miss My Family, My Friends, KFC Double Down, the good people at Dunking Donuts, everyone on the Wednesday night basketball team. I don't want to go, stop the abduction. You're hurting my fragile little body. From Used Barf Bag Collector.
I like it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, what was that? That one was really good.
It was like it was a whole story. Very well thought out. Used Barf Bag Collector.
I liked it.
Yeah, that's on my list. I'll add it onto the list right now.
Keep it in there. That was Used Barf Bag Collector. We also had My Name is Jeff with I Would Miss Russ doing a terrible interpretation of my real voice. We had Ramadas. What's up with sporks, KFC restaurants? Am I supposed to spork my fried chicken? We had the Rebob with I think I missed the most would probably be this podcast. You guys are great. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, you're
you win in our hearts, but we also have the relentless pursuit of my old dad and his efforts to hurt me from Scared of My Dad guy. We had the one that was just all the British talk. I can't try it again. I'm not going to try it again.
Oh, that was really good, though, because they transcribed her perfectly. It sounded like after we played the clip afterwards, and it sounded exactly like what the person
And I'm realizing they mentioned so it says, when there comes one after our day's work avoiding triangles in sky, and there's a Botiki, Kentucky, but there remembers takeaways, meet them well-dressed. But triangles I have.
It would triangle.
That was Dick McLightning. Thank you, Dick McLightning. We have.
Thank you, Dick McLightning.
I don't know why she's so obsessed with Kentucky. The state is so sad. Even the grass is blue. That was a pretty good one. The host quotes was me talking about this was 10 years ago. Imagine the innovations you dreamed up now. Like, let's get into this.
I will never vote for host quotes.
Fine.
I'm sorry. I love you, but thank you, but it's scary.
I'll vote for you someday.
Yeah, we'll get you. Yeah, I think host quotes has actually won a couple of times on a couple of. We had Unbelievable Penguin with. I feel like I have unlearned everything I know about cryptids. I know they're just various numbers of grays and trench coats looking for fried chicken. Now I'm going to eat that shit. That was a pretty good one. Whooping Hooper. I've seen documentaries where the women have some massive implants. Are they aliens? More research needed. And we had sitting around and wishing I could leave Earth forever. Corrupted Mask. Wow. Corrupted Mask coming in.
Damn.
I like that one.
We love you here, Corrupted Mask. Stay here with
For real,
us.
man.
Stay a while.
Yeah, or take us with you.
Stay a while and listen.
Just take us with you. And we'll bring the Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, please.
We had a couple random ones. We had Rods from Rod Lover, Trousers from Left-Handed Buckle Grabber, which is pretty good for a one-word poll result. Trousers from him. That's pretty great. I missed my crystal vibrator. Drea, who
I
do you
think my
like?
favorite's going to be the Used Barf Bag Collector, which is a bunch of words I never thought I was going to say all together.
And it actually answered the question. How about you, Rob?
I really do like that one. So I'll agree with Drea. I will throw into that as well. Used Barf Bag Collector.
Nice.
Welcome to the Unbelievable community.
All right. Well, congratulations with I'd Miss My Family, My Friends, KFC's Double Down, the good people at Dunking Donuts, everyone on the Wednesday night basketball team. I don't want to go, stop the abduction, the little green aliens. You're hurting my fragile little body. Congratulations. You just won this week's poll results. Wow, great one. We've come to the end of the program. But before we go, Drea Mora, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I guess just, take care of yourself. And even Elizabeth Klarer must have doubted her own mind. And you should probably check out that song by, what was it, Jim Neversink?
Yes.
Yeah. It's fucking fantastic. Do yourself a favor. Go and listen to that song.
Absolutely. How about you, Rob? Anything you want to say or plug?
Check out the Instagram at Rob Oakey. Check out Side Stories. Will you hear me talk for like 30 seconds every 4 episodes, which is just what I do. And just
amount of time.
Check out all of the things.
Absolutely. And be sure and go subscribe to us on YouTube and join us on Patreon. We have fun bonus episodes every month. We're going to be putting one out for the end of this month for sure. And that's it. I don't know. Go watch the live streams and I want to say thanks. I feel like we've getting a lot of love lately in the poll results and the Patreon, and it's good to be back. Sorry, this was a little delayed. And that's it. The Unbelievers podcast host today were Drea Mora and me, Russ Ryan. Our producer and soundboard engineer is Rob Oakey. Our editor is Issa YZ. You can join our Patreon by going to patreon.com/The Unbelievers Podcast. You can follow the show on Twitter at Unbelievers Pod and Instagram at Unbelievers Podcast. Our Facebook group is the Unbelievable Podcast Network. You can check out our merch store at TeePublic. The link is in the description. Our music advisor is Pandora3373. Our official composer and theme song creator is Unbeliever Aaron, aka Aaron Shilb. Follow him on Instagram at the Aaron Shilb. Our official graphic designer and card maker who designed our logo is Raymond Orwell. Check out his work at Harley Warren Art on Twitter and harleywarren.com on the internet. Our official guardian of the bench is at Kraken Stack. Our official alien popper is Nunchuck Pop. And from the Patreon, our official reptilian at the post office is Postal Patty. Our official extraterrestrial woman still waiting for hashtag rubbing heads to trend is Crescent Moon. Our official Reverend Doctor of the podcast is the non-Newtonian Druid. Our official Big Island Paranormal Friendly Weatherman is Green Findog. Our official procrastinator is Jeffrey Hartneriff. Our official Baby Yoda publicist is Pam Z. Our official Unbelievers listening between stations for a message from Arbella is Scott E. Our official Unbelievers Raising Puckwudgies is Joe Filler. Our official Madman is Unbeliever Adam. Our official Unbelievers Time Traveler is Taylor Nelson. Our official Ghost Hunter is Amelia Childs of Ghost Hunting in New England. Our official senior European correspondent is Kay Mill of the I Don't Know podcast, which is back. Kay Mill hasn't put out an episode in a very long time.
Hell yeah.
Kay Mill is back. Go check out the I Don't Know podcast. He's got a fun new episode out. Our official paranormal art curator is Isis Haynes. Our official Rod is Rod. Our official Unbeliever in need of titles are Mike Henry, Todd X, Liz Vicious, Sandra Devil Falls, Ramiro Trash Baby, Adam Dvorak, Retro Josh, and this week's Unbeliever focus is Herms, who recently joined the Patreon and reached out for some romantic movie suggestions that they could watch on a date night. And of course, I suggested the most romantic movie ever, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Episode 2.
Where Anakin and Padme fall madly in love. And as soon as I suggested this, all Herms had to say was,
That's not a good love story. It's not a good love story at all.
Whatever. Good night.
It's not wrong.
Nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter, no. 'Cause I got you, baby. Nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter, no. 'Cause we gon' fight. Oh yes, we gon' fight. We gon' believe we gon' fight. We gon' fight for our right to love, yeah. Nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter, no. 'Cause I got you.
Discontinue! Discontinue!